And we are live. It's a
All
beautiful.
right.
Yes, we are.
Yes.
Okay, join the chat, connect to YouTube. Let's work it, y'all. Work
We're
it,
in it to win it
work
on a
it.
Sunday evening. All right. Well, hello, YouTube family.
That was me.
Okay.
I'm
All right.
sorry. I'm trying to
Listen,
get my
we're
audio
still,
straight in here.
we're still in the midst of trying to get used to all of this great technology that allows us to come live and do all of these things. But we're going to have a good one for you tonight. Goddess Juanita is going to get us rocking and rolling. We got some great stuff to talk about in the world of relationships. I'm just on pins and needles, in fact.
All righty, family.
Yes.
Welcome to the Goddess-ity podcast. We are so happy that you are here with us today, and we have another great episode for you. As Goddess Akili mentioned, I am Goddess Juanita, and I'd like to introduce our other co-host, Goddess Akili,
Boop, boop, boop.
Goddess Linda, and also who is not with us today is Goddess April. But we want to say hello, Goddess
Hey,
April, even
April.
though
Hope
you're
you're
not
having
here
fun.
physically,
Safe travels.
you're
Yeah.
here spiritually. All
Yeah.
right. So
Mhm.
anyway, this is a wrap-up segment for our episodes that we've been doing about relationships. And oh, we have been having some wonderful conversations about relationships. If you hadn't had a chance to look at those series, please watch them. You will learn a lot of things. In our first two episodes, we talked about the parent-child relationship, and it was amazing. We talked about how your relationships with your parents, how they impact your relationship with your children. And we talked about how you can kind of bridge that gap. We talked about some challenges that we had. Also talked about some things that we learned as we kind of experienced these relationships. Also looking at them through a comedic lens, right? And how we can kind of bring those relationships together, how we can not only look at them as challenging, but what are the lessons that we can learn. We also talked about relationships with our siblings. We talked about with our friends, our coworkers, and last but definitely not least, romantic relationships. So let me tell you, if you haven't had a chance to look at them, please go back and look at those episodes. And then a lot of what we're saying today will make a lot more sense. But without further ado, I'd like to kick off today's episode. Today, we're going to be wrapping up our whole relationship episodes, and we pretty much had probably three questions that we want the goddesses to answer today. The first question is, why was covering the topic of relationships important to you? So I'd like to hear from each of the goddesses, starting with Goddess Linda. Can you tell us
Okay.
a little bit about why was covering the topic of relationship important to you?
Well, it was important to me because, well, first of all, thank you, Goddess Juanita. But it was important to me because I am in that space in time now of connecting with self. And so going through these different relationship series, it let me see where I'm at in relationship with myself. So like my daughter. So just recently, her and she had I was out of town and she called me. She was struggling, and so I was talking to her on the phone and I was just, I just went into this, okay, hey, this is what you got to do, dot 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 dot. And once I got off the phone with her, I started reflecting on how I was with her. And I didn't like my tone. My tone wasn't like mad. I wasn't mad or anything. I was concerned. I was too far away from her. But I wanted to make sure that she was okay. So I'm starting to look at like, okay, how am I, where's the emotional connection with her? And so I got home and I'm talking to her about it, and I apologized to her for not being um, emotionally invested in that conversation with her, and she said she didn't. um, see it as me, not being there with her, connected with her. And I told her, I said, well, that's because that's how I've always interacted with you when, it's times of I got to jump into action. And as we're still talking, and it dawned on me, it's like my relationship, my parental relationship with my mom, when I was younger, my dad was murdered when I was 6 years old. So all of those things that happened over that time period, there was a lot of chaos and instability. And that got me to see where or why I was connecting with her. Because it's like a light switch, I immediately just jump into this, okay, let's get this done.
Mhm.
And it's like a survival technique for myself to ensure that remain steady and that
Mhm.
there's stability, that, I can't let things get chaotic because things had fallen apart around me, you know, so much, as I said, during my younger years. So
Mhm.
in us talking about relationships, it has helped me time and time again on getting back and connecting with self and getting rid of a lot of false beliefs and healing my trauma. It's just been just a a wonderful gift
Yeah.
to me.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why it was important to me.
Yeah.
Wonderful. What about you, Goddess Akili?
Boy. Ooh, boy. Goddess Linda, thank you so much for sharing that. Goddess Juanita, thank you so much for opening the door. Um, for years, I have felt like I have been really good in the space of relationships. And what I think that relationships show you, or what I know that relationships show you, is um, what you're reflecting and what you're putting out there, and how good you actually may not be, right?
Mhm. Yep.
Um, I have two children. My husband and I have been together for 29 years, and time is something that does not indicate quality by no means.
Mhm.
It's really the time you spend in a space of developing and creating your relationship. Now, unfortunately, for so many years, I thought that had come with knowledge, knowledge, and more knowledge. I'm going to be the person that you're going to see studying any and everything, like so many other Black women that I know.
Mhm.
We study, we get the information, we get the certification. And for me, relationships were no different, because I always felt like I didn't want to fail. I didn't want to show up in certain ways that were similar to what I saw in my own parents for my own children. Um, you know, I, I I had a view in my mind of what a successful marriage should look like, and that was one where people were always working, 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 working. Like, you have to be in a space where the marriage is treated like its own entity. It
Mhm.
can't be you winning, it can't be your partner winning. The marriage has to win. So, in
Mhm.
order to do those things, or really to get to that place where you can do that type of work, I feel like you have to be very intentional, or it feels like it always has to be in a space of you learning and staying on top of things, and
Mhm.
doing things in ways that other people don't, right? But what I've learned is that it's so much more important to have wisdom, right? Knowledge is really important. Yeah.
Mhm.
But wisdom, to me, is knowledge with some emotion applied to it. Now, I am going to say I'm getting a little bit of feedback here. Where is this coming from? Is this coming from Goddess Juanita? It might be coming from Goddess
Is it
Juanita.
coming from me?
Think
Let me
I
so.
check
don't
and see.
know. It might be coming from Goddess Juanita. We love you, but we're going to put you on mute because we're hearing a little bit of bounce back, just a little
Okay.
bit.
Am I too loud, maybe?
Mm-mm, it's not you. I can hear myself over
Okay.
it. Yeah. Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Go ahead and mute, Goddess Juanita.
You want me to mute?
Yes.
Okay, I have done that.
Please. Okay. All right. So I feel like in the space of again trying to always be better, you can lose a lot of that emotional connectivity that's necessary. So, as we've been doing this work, having these conversations, it's caused me to really want to reflect. I love the topic of relationships because I feel like as we are all spiritual, soulful beings walking around on planet Earth, having a three-dimensional, or some might say a four-dimensional experience, we get so limited in the way that we have the experiences that we need to have are through relationships. So I love relationships, but they are extremely reflective. And I do believe that going inward, understanding self, making a connection with the creator or what you believe it to be is imperative for you to be able to get the lessons. I'm also a big believer that everybody that you have a relationship with, be it a spouse, coworker, child, parent, is here as an assignment for you.
Yeah.
Like, what is this person here to teach me? And if you can keep that understanding, I think it can save you a lot of heartache. It can save you a lot of irritability. Um, but if you just stay in that space, I think it can also put you in a situation where you intellectualize a lot of things. You stay in your head about a lot of things, and you don't get the opportunity to feel a lot of things. And I believe that that is how our higher selves communicate with us, through feelings, right? Through intuition. They want us to understand things in a different way. And I just think we can get so caught up in not getting the opportunity to do that because we're always trying to shield ourselves from being hurt.
Yeah.
So I am so glad we talked about relationships for sure. All right, come on back, Goddess Juanita.
Okay, I guess for me, while I was covering the topic of what's important for me, I think it's probably just like the rest of you guys have said. This has been really, I've learned a lot just about myself and about my relationships. And I found that a lot of times, like in relationships, sometimes I find myself getting frustrated maybe with the other person. And there was a couple times when just truly when I got frustrated about something with another person, it was just like spirit was saying, you're frustrated with them because this thing that they're saying that they don't like about you is exactly what you don't like yourself.
Mm,
And I was just
Mhm,
like, wow.
mhm,
I
mhm,
mm,
was like, wow, that is so true. And
mhm,
so now I think the other thing, like you were saying, Goddess-ity, the emotional part, we live in a world where we're told that expressing your emotions is not a good thing. Why? Because
mhm,
maybe everybody else don't have the same emotion you do.
mhm,
So it makes us try to stuff those emotions down, and after a while, we're just stacking on top of each other. And then what usually happens is we somewhere and we just totally explode
mhm,
because
right.
we've been trying to hold all this stuff in. And so what
mhm,
we're learning through all of this stuff in relationships is, hey, we need to be emotional. We need to let people know how we feel about things. If somebody says something we don't like, we need to say, that hurt my feelings. I wish you
Mhm.
hadn't said that, or I wish you hadn't done that. It made me feel like this.
mhm,
It's like when we were a kid, we would tell, we would say, I hurt. You know what I'm saying? But when we got older, it was almost, especially I would say, black women, like
mhm,
when somebody does something to us, oh, forbid if we get upset about it or we get mad about it and we show that we're mad because, oh, we become the angry black woman, the crazy black woman. Oh my God.
mhm,
Nobody can take
mhm.
it. So I think even for us, when we're in settings and something happens, first thing we say, because I know I do it to myself, I say, okay, I gotta check sister. I call her sister girl. Sister girl, it ain't the time. Right now ain't the time to come out. It ain't, I know, but don't do it. Do not do it. So I know I hold back because I'm like ready to just go. And maybe I don't need to go all the way out, but I do need to come out a little bit, right? You know what I mean? But I just go like, nah, you know what I mean? Just nah. And so after a while, you keep doing that. And then after a while, you don't even recognize yourself. You don't even know if I'm having them. Okay, I'm having an emotion. I'm so used to pushing it back, I'm not even gonna, reference it. And I think we all, women, men, all of us, we've been told so much that you don't show your emotions because it's kind of like to show your emotions is showing your weakness. You know what I'm saying? You're emotional,
Mhm.
something happens that's crazy, and you're like, okay, you can't show your emotions because then they're gonna think you're emotional, and everybody's gonna say, oh, don't say this because she's gonna get emotional. So we don't. We start trying to have relationships with people without emotions, and guess what? That doesn't work.
Yeah.
The most thing excited about a relationship is the emotional part, is that great feeling you feel when you're with somebody, is when you have an encounter about something and you tell people how you feel because you feel like I can just be myself with this person, right? I don't have to cover up who I am. And so I think the leaving the emotions back, I think all of that made me to go back because I would say I'm like number one in holding the emotions back because after so long, you just say, okay, you just act like I don't know. It was something I even read that was saying, hey, you just don't bring your emotions in it. You just. And I'm thinking, okay, I'm walking around like a zombie, really, right? I was telling somebody the other day. I said, you know what? It's so funny because I finally get the zombie movies. It took me forever to get the zombie movies. I said, because guess what? I realized that the zombies are not some crazy people. The zombie is us every day. We walk around here like zombies. Like we don't see things happening that we know we see. We don't show any emotion. We don't express stuff when we know we should. We
Yep.
are the zombies. And the people that are trying to run from it are the few little people that have woke up and don't want to be a zombie anymore. So I was like, wow, I get the zombie movies. And it was through this relationship series I got the zombie issue. Like, it was like, we are all the zombies.
Yes.
Mm,
Yep.
mm, mm,
Yep.
mm.
Yep.
So I'm telling you, this series is so amazing because this series has opened up so many things for me. It's crazy. It's just crazy how you go down one path and it's opened up so many other doors. It's hilarious.
Yes.
But this has
Yeah.
been great. I loved it.
Can I speak on something you said, Juanita?
Yes.
I mean, yes, like you said, it has opened up so many things. And as I'm listening to you, and you were talking about the emotions and other things, it's like for me, it wasn't exploding. It was, I'm stuffing my
Yeah.
emotions, and then I'm not showing up as my true authentic self.
Mhm.
And I believe that what is happening when people are talking about, oh, you're so emotional. Well, really what that's reflecting is that it's them taking your emotions personally. You
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
said that, when you found, or you can find, when you find people that you can be in a relationship with, whether that's a friendship, associationship with, or whatever, and you feel like you can be yourself, it
Mhm.
just dawned on me. It's like, because I can talk to them about my shit, and they're not taking my shit personally. They just allowing me to just speak on it.
Mhm.
Whereas,
Mhm.
and I've taken my shit to someone else who I felt that I could trust and get some guidance, and it's just like, oh, you just too emotional, you just
Yeah.
too emotional. And I'm just like, so then I'm trying to check myself and keep myself in this box and together, and then realizing it's like, no, there's just people out there, like you said, the that's running away from, that are the zombies.
Yes.
Mhm.
They just want me to stay away, because I have gotten in touch uh,
Yeah.
Mhm.
with my
Mhm.
emotions
Yeah.
a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah. So
that's
really,
huge.
really, really good stuff. Really good stuff, right?
It
Anything
is.
Oh,
else y'all want
awesome.
to add about the importance of the relationships?
I mean, something popped in my head when you were just talking about the the beauty of the relationships, or the interesting parts of the relationships are, when that emotion is coming into play, right? The highs and lows, the roller coaster. um what I find to be interesting, and why it just popped in my head, I don't know, is that people are along for that ride and excited about it when we're talking about the romantic relationships and even friendships sometimes in the beginning,
Mm.
right? But then as those roller coasters and things continue to be a thing, or there's a lack of any type of emotion at all because the roller coaster has stopped, When people want to get off, either way, it's like, listen, either I am sick of this roller coaster, all this. Like, I thought this was gonna be something that was gonna last a fresh 3 minutes. Okay, but here we are 20 years later, we're still on this.
Mhm.
Or, like I said, there is that lack of emotion, and people are like, I'm ready to get on down the road here because I'm not getting that. So
Yeah,
it's interesting how fickle we can be, or how, again, sometimes we don't realize what we want, which makes one believe that, hey, maybe Beth Ann from the series that I was just watching was accurate in her view that maybe relationships are for a period of time.
that's true. They
That's
run
what
their course,
that's
right?
what
Like a roller coaster.
Yep.
that's
Run
right.
their course. Eventually it stops, right?
Yeah. She said they have a runtime now.
Mm-hmm.
And that's probably, and it makes sense that maybe because there's a time that you're supposed to learn a lesson, and when you
Hmm.
get to that point that you've gotten that lesson, then it's time to move on to the next lesson, right?
That's right. Exit
Exactly.
the ride, get down to the Turley world.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. So, in covering this series, it helped me to better come to terms with a friendship that I had to end.
Yeah.
It was, a 20 plus year friendship.
Hmm.
And because I finally learned my lesson in that relationship.
Mm-hmm. Ooh,
Well,
this
good.
sounds like something that's rolling to the next
Wonderful.
question. Okay.
Yeah, I think it is going to the next question. Okay, ladies, goddesses, we're ready for question number two.
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
All right, question number two is what have you been inspired to work on in your relationship since filming this series? So, what have you been inspired to work on? We're going to start with Goddess Akili this time.
Mm, okay. So this has been interesting. Well, I feel like I am constantly in a state of transformation. I like to think that I kind of live a butterfly life. But it's like this cocoon is just keeps coming back, and then a new butterfly comes out. And so I don't know that that is what is supposed to be happening. But child, listen, I am constantly like, oh, okay, I could be a different butterfly. Let's see what's in here. Uh, so, the first thing that I had been inspired to work on is me, because that's always where I want to go. I am that person that, let me lift up the tablecloth and see the crumbs that are on the floor, because I want to know where all the hidden stuff is. Take me to the shadow, because
Yeah.
that's the work that I need to do. That's what I want to see. Show me something that's not right. I want to see it. Um, so I decided with this particular series to do some things I have never done before when it comes to healing and working with me. And much of it comes out of me being able to look at my relationship with my spouse, right? Um, so if I kind of work backwards from there, I think that when we get in relationships with people, especially intimate relationships, long-term relationships, we have this view, we've been fed this bill of goods, that this person that you're in a relationship with is supposed to meet all of your needs. That's constantly what they're supposed to be working on. You guys are this weird cup where they're this half and you're this half, and it comes together to make some perfect goblet of fantasticness that you guys are just supposed to drink from all the time. And that's how it works. Well, unfortunately, the person that you are in a relationship with has no clue about the standards, expectations, shenanigans, limitations, views that you are bringing into the relationship, nor do they have an understanding that they were supposed to be trained to meet all of these needs that you have. So, as you are holding them to these standards and they're not meeting them simply because they're ill equipped to do so, then you start trying to figure out, okay, well, why is this not happening? Well, fast forward to, or rewind to, however you want to look at it, your relationship with yourself. So for me, I had to start considering, all right, Akili, you're really going to have to get clear about what you need, girl. So I actually got a couple of journals, and I did show them to you guys that, put me in a very specific space whenever I get ready to write in them. They're giving me these antique, ancient, comedic vibes, these metaphysical components of ancient African spirituality for sure.
All right, Keely.
Yes, that say, okay, you are the magic. You are here to meet your own needs. You don't ever want to leave that in somebody else's hands to do. If it's something that they choose to do, okay, that's one thing. But to leave it in somebody's hands and then have a level of disappointment if it's not happening is unfair. Um, it might be considered even violent on some levels, because then what happens in a space where you feel anger and animosity and disdain for this person that you are supposed to be, again, in intimate relationship with? So it's like, all right, how are you going to meet your own needs? Well, you need to spend time actually writing down. For me, when I really go internal, I have to hear and I have to do a little bit of writing. Writing down what you feel like you need when you feel those issues of like frustration, or when you feel anger, or when you feel disappointment, or some type of what one would consider a negative emotion, or the opposite of love, if you will. Like, what comes up for you and what is it that you need right now? What is missing that is pushing you to feel this way? And once I started doing that, and then something would come up that I would write in my journal, like, oh, okay, you know what I need? I need a hug right now, or I feel like I need love right now. I need somebody to tell me it's okay right now. Then I could write down there, okay, well, you know what, little Akili, this is what it is. We love you. I love you. The universe loves you. There's more love surrounding you than you can even consider, right? Or if you need a hug, I'm just going to hug you, right? That's what you can do. And when I started really doing that, it's like it opened the door for me to understand that, yeah, we really do have everything that we need. We're that damn expansive that
Mhm.
it's not that it's not necessary for us to be in relationship, but it's not necessary for us to be in a space of lack when we're in it. You can get what you need from that which you are. You just have to understand that you are divine. And so I had to push myself in that space to meet my own needs there. And then with the other side of that, since we're again talking about the relationship component, I also had to make a decision to re fall in love with my husband. Now, I do feel like these kind of things have to happen frequently. I mean, I could be making that up, but that's how I feel. Like, I feel like in marriage, you have to, like, every day is a game time decision, right? Like, you have to recommit
Mhm.
to the idea of you
Yep.
being in a situation with a person for the rest of y'all's lives.
Yep.
Okay. So, in order to do that, I think you have to be very intentional about the fact that you're going to love this person. You might intellectually have habits and routines and things that you guys are in where you do things for each other regularly, right? Or do things together even regularly, but that doesn't mean that you get into the spaces of the emotion, or you get into the spaces that keep those feelings kind of percolating and bubbling and all of those good things. So I had to just make a very intentional decision that this is what I was going to do. Now, I heard Tony Robbins say that as soon as the decision is made, it happens right then, right there. And I believe that ever since I've heard him say that, and I believe that through manifestation, that is true as well. So as soon as I made the decision, I was able to adjust my view of my husband and his actions and the things that he was trying to do for me that were very difficult for me to see, because I'm looking at him through a lens of expectation, right?
Mhm.
As opposed to the lens of, this is who this person is. This is why you selected this person. And then metaphysically, this is look, this is the role they're going to play, and you learning these first lessons. So that has been two things that I've been very inspired to work on, and so glad that I did, because it's made a world of difference.
Awesome.
Oh,
Beautiful.
That's
yes.
awesome. That's awesome.
Mhm.
I like to see all the expansion and the growth that we're all having. And I think for me, oh my God, I am so bad. I'll put it this way. I'm so bad, especially in relationships, with asking people like, how are you or how are things going? And then wanting them to rush through it like in 5 seconds. Cause I asked it, but I want the short, sweet, concise answer. I want the like the 3 bullet points. Bam, bam, bam. And so if I ask them and they start going like, well, let me tell you, then I'm already like, oh my God, why did I do that? You know, I'm so impatient with the listening. So I've been asking Spirit to help me with the listening. And I'm telling you, I've done better, but I'm telling you, it's a fight to the end with my mind. My mind is saying this is way more information than I ever wanted to know.
Yes.
Why did you ask the question? But I'm trying to be that open and responsive person that someone might need when they want somebody to listen. And let me tell you, I'm at the bottom of the list on that one because my patience for listening to long stories is short, so short. But I understand because I had one of those situations that happened with my daughter, and she's one that likes to. I say she's a drama queen, but that just says she knows how to express her emotions, right? And so whenever I say, "Okay, darling, well, how's it going? How's work?" Well, why? She has a story. Now I want like the 3 bullet points, but I this time I decided to give me some tea, and I sat down and I listened. Now 30 minutes later, I was okay. But I felt good because I felt like it was something she likes to be heard. And
Mm.
usually she talks probably more to a friend of hers because her mom usually is not one to want to listen to long stories. She wants the short version. So I would say for me, I've been inspired to try to work on my listening skills because I'm not a very good listener in relationships. But I have learned from listening to everything that you guys been saying, and then just what Spirit's been telling me is that if I really want to understand who I am more, what's the importance of my relationships, what the lessons are, I need to listen because if I'm not really listening when people are talking, I'm missing. I guess what I'm saying too, I'm having these wonderful interactions with these people that I love, but I'm so wanting to get to the end in a hurry that I'm letting all of the most important part of the journey pass me by, if you understand what I'm saying. And
Mhm.
so what Spirit is saying, you need to take a time to just sit back and listen to what they have to say because it's an important thing that they have to say. But most of the time, my husband told me all the time, it's like when he starts talking, I usually just try to finish his sentence. And then he just gets mad and he just says, forget it. I'm not even going to say nothing. And I'll be like, no, baby, please, please, please tell me. He said, I'm done. He said, you always do me like that. You never let me finish. It's like you got to come in and finish what I say. You won't let me speak. And then I was like, he's so right. I can't say nothing because he's telling the truth.
Oh my God.
I have learned, and hey, every day I'm saying, Spirit, help me to be a better listener, because I am horrible at taking the time to listen to people, no matter if they want to go 5 minutes or 60 minutes. I have a difficult time with it because I want them to be. I don't know. I don't know how I got to this person that you need to tell me something like in 5 seconds or I'm turned off. I don't know where they came from, but I had that. It's like now when I want to tell the story, but usually if I tell you something, I might have some long stories. Usually I try to keep it short. But I need to understand that there's sometimes when people really have something important to say, and I need to give them that time. So that's what I've been inspired to work on in this whole relationship thing.
Awesome. That is wonderful awareness, self awareness. Goddess
Mhm.
Juanita.
And it's cracking me up because my husband says the same thing. He's like, "Will you
Mhm.
be quiet?" And I'm like, "I know what you're going to say."
He's like, but just let me say it.
I'm like, "But why? We can speed this up if I just say it for you." That's so annoying, I'm sure, for him.
Yeah, and I know.
Mhm.
I mean, he's be after a while, he just gets so mad at me. He just like, I'm not saying nothing else. I'm done.
Mhm.
You never let me finish talking with us.
Mhm.
So, but anyway, anybody else got anything else to add on what they've been inspired to work on?
Yeah, let me. So, um, I've been reflecting on just the different area, different relationships in my life, different areas, and career wise, and my family, things of that. Things I've been able to, manifest the things that I want and desire in that area. But when it came to intimate relationships, it's just lacking. And I knew why. I was very guarded after I
Mm-hmm.
divorced, and then even as I was, coming into that, okay, I'm ready to date, I'm ready to put myself out there.
Yeah.
Things just was not happening, and I'm just like, okay. Um, but what I want to share with you all is a download, an upload. I'm gonna say it was
Okay.
an upload that I received just last week. As I was waking up, and this the upload that was coming to me, breaking through all of that, those chakras, and getting on up into this
Yes.
up in here. Um, it was just two simple words: attention and intention.
Mm,
It was just that, those two words. And I laid in the bed and I just let that sit with me, because I knew, without anything else being told to me, my spirit knew what that was being placed in me for. And I was confusing attention from a man with the intention of that man.
mhm,
And so if a man approached me, I saw his attention as intention. He was being intentional with me. He had some intentions with me based on my definition. So he may have had in some intentions, but it wasn't what I wanted, but that's how I viewed it. So every man that was, you know, um, giving me attention, I was like, oh, okay. My mind immediately went into ching, ching, ching. What am I supposed to do now to reciprocate? And there was nothing to reciprocate, you know? So as I just continued to reflect on that, it helped me to see where post divorce, um, and even in my marriage prior to getting married, it just helped me to see, gave me more clarity of how to go through life better. Um, so let me see if I can make this more succinct. So going through life, and one of the things that I struggled with was showing up. Showing up. I have gifts, I have talents, but just not wanting to be seen, but having this deep desire to be seen.
what is
And
that?
that, I know that was having this deep desire to be seen. And then
Yeah.
I realized that, okay, that was something that I wasn't given to myself, but an attention coming from this man, or any man, whoever this man is, isn't a bad thing, because I look at it now that, okay, Linda, this is just him acknowledging that, hey, I see you. And then that's me being aware that, Linda, you're being seen. I've accepted being seen, So it's like, okay, don't take the attention the wrong way, that there's this alignment there.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just like, okay, so he's giving me that attention. I acknowledge it. I'm like, okay, I'm good. Keep going on. Because that man who is being intentional, he's going to do or say some different things, that's going to catch my attention. Like, okay, hold on, and getting me
Yeah.
to pay attention. Okay, now it's time for you to slow down and listen to what he's saying, because he's going to, he's now showing you what his intentions are. And if they're in alignment with what my intentions are, it's like, well, hey, talk to him, you know?
Mhm.
So that's something that it has inspired me. This whole relationship thing has inspired me to be more intentional about what I want as far as an intimate partnership. And we talked about, yeah, in one of our upcoming episodes, or I think it was just posted last week, romantic partnerships. And it's, I feel so different inside. I feel it coming.
Mhm.
No, that was something that I just struggled with. I struggled with visualizing it, um, but just listening to each and every one of the goddesses, and y'all sharing your experiences, and um, it helps me to see that everything's not going to be perfect,
Mhm.
Nope.
you know, and I need to show up as Linda, as Goddess Linda, and not this version of myself that I was taught, be quiet. Don't nobody want to hear what you got to say. Don't show no feelings, no emotions.
Mhm.
Just be here for me. Don't be there for yourself. You know, um, it's just opened up just a plethora of things for me, just to continue just connecting deeper with myself. So,
Mhm.
um, yeah, so it just that's the relationship. It's that mental relationship that I'm working on,
Mhm.
to manifest what I want, to bring about the physical.
Yes.
Yep.
Hmm.
That's what it's about.
Yeah.
All right. And to our last question, number three. Okay. Did you have any aha moments while watching any of the episodes?
Mm.
Yeah,
All
I'm
right.
gonna be.
Guys,
Let me just jump in real quick and say this.
all right. Come on.
I don't feel like I have much to say, but let me on this particular one, because just like when you record yourself and you don't like to hear your voice, I don't watch too many of our episodes, because what
No.
I find, well, okay, let me put it this way. So, of the few episodes that I've helped editing, then through that, I'm hearing and listening. But when I'm watching the completed ones, I find that I'm critiquing myself too much.
Yeah.
Such a
You know,
coach.
and I'm just like,
Always
pay you
coaching.
to be present. You just looking at you, just like, what were you doing there? And this and that. But you know what? Maybe that is the aha moment, because it's
Yeah.
like you're
That
still,
is an aha moment.
yeah, that is an aha moment. You're still critiquing yourself. You're
You you
still
you you
being,
can't let yourself be.
yes, yes. And it's just like, that's the aha, aha,
I
aha.
mean, Linda, if anybody I would say can just be, I would say it was you. I mean, so it's like you might go back and see yourself, but you are one person I say from our trip when we went to Egypt, that you were just soaking up every moment to the fullest, to the brink. I mean, everybody was saying it, everybody was noticing. Like you were just like we were walking and you were floating. You know what I mean? Uh, but just to see that you say that, it's like because you couldn't see yourself, right? When that was going
Yeah,
on,
right.
right? So you couldn't critique it. You just had to go with it. I mean, and it was just like everybody was attracted to you. Everybody from the outside, no matter where you were, they were attracted to you. They wanted to talk to you. They wanted to get to know you. I mean, it was just like I mean, it's just like bees to the honey, right? They were just trying to find you. Like we look over there, okay, who was that Linda talking to now? Everybody was trying to be all up in your space. They want to be a part of your world. You know what I mean? So that's so crazy because, I mean, to me, you are just your freest when you're just you.
Man, you know what? And that just touched my heart space, because what you did say, it's like I'm now looking back on what I've done, and I'm critiquing myself instead of just letting it go and letting it be. Because as you said, when we were in Egypt, and that's how I approach life, it's just like, get out there and be. Don't try to perform for anybody else. But then when I look back at myself, I'd be like, what in the world?
that judgmental Linda. That
Yep. Yep. It's like, but I'm working to release it. I'm
Oh,
working to release
God.
it and let it
I
go.
know
Let it
it
go.
keeps coming back up. You're like, get that.
Yeah. 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 But I'm so much further away from where I was before. Cause yeah,
Yeah.
even
But
just
hey,
sharing
we're
what,
all a work in progress, right? And
yeah.
no matter how much we grow, we can't be there 100% of the time, right? We just can't. It's like we always fall back a little bit and we like go, oh, come on back, come on back.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
you
Thank
know.
you. Thank you for Goddess Juanita.
So I gotta get you back in line,
Yeah.
guys.
Yes. Come on, girl. Get it together, Goddess. Linda, you got it. You got this.
Well, I would say I had mentioned a little bit to the guys before. My aha moment was really in my meditation with my ancestors and spirit guides, I guess I would say. And in that moment, they gave me this connection with my relationships. It was like when I was growing up, like I might have said before, my dad wasn't there, so I had two uncles, and they both were married to my mother's sisters. So very close family. But I had an uncle. His name was Uncle C. To me, he was like water. And what I mean by water is he was almost like you, Linda. He was everywhere, and he was everywhere all at the same time, and everywhere where he needed to be. He was that kind of person that he'd work all day. He built probably 2 to 3 of his homes. He would come home after work, eat dinner, maybe sometimes cook dinner. He did most of the cooking in the family. Then he would go and start building on the house that he was working on next door. You know what I mean? I was just like, I don't even know how he did it. I was just like, how does this person do all these things? And he was a deacon in the church. If anybody ever needed him, they called him to come fix something in their house. He would be there. I don't care what time of night. I mean, he was just like that. He was just wherever he needed to be, and no, personality wise, never changed. Just a nice, loving, kind. I don't think I ever heard him like raise his voice. Not even raise it. Not less, say anything else. So he to me was my earth. My uncle LD, which you call him Uncle Frog. He was like to me. I guess you could say he was more like Earth because my aunt married him probably when she was 14. He might have been in his 20s. She did not work a day of her life and they had no children. He worked in a grocery store sacking groceries. He bought a house, a car, never owed anybody on that type of a salary. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm.
On the less of the less, he owned everything, never had no debts, nothing. Worked until he couldn't work anymore. He was so much earth for me. It was a guy that, oh my God, this guy was so cute. When I was in high school, oh my God, all the girls wanted to be with him, and finally he chose me. Oh my God, I was so excited. I was so excited. I was so excited. Oh, he was so nice, and he was so polite, and he smelled so good. I just was great with this guy.
Not that he smelled so good in high
It's
school.
great with this guy. He had the prettiest white teeth. Oh my God, he was so handsome. My
Love it.
uncle comes to my house. My uncle never, I always came to visit him. I'd go running. I'd go back and stop and talk to him. He always, it's kind of like our little routine with him and my uncle. I'll stop up and talk to him every day after my runs. He comes to my house. He never comes to my house to talk to me. I always stop and talk to him. And he says to me, Juanita, I know I heard you were dating so-and-so, so-and-so. He's not good for you. You don't need to date him.
Oh.
And I'm like, okay. 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 But then in my mind, as I slept on it, I'm thinking in my mind, oh my God, what's going on? Because my uncle, who's always there for me, has never ever tried to correct me about when I say anything, anything.
Mm.
So I'm thinking, oh my God, this must be real serious. So I called the guy. I said, okay, after school tomorrow, on my run, meet me at such and such time. Ooh, my heart was breaking. I said, I can't date you anymore. And he was like, what? What's wrong? What's wrong? I said, I just can't talk about it right now. And that was it. And that was
What is
it.
happening right now?
I was done. And it was over. And I had to just let it go. But it broke my heart. I
Oh,
never knew what it was
no.
either. I just
That
had
young
to
love.
he just because
Devastating.
I didn't even feel like I could ask my uncle, what is it? I mean, it was just like he came in, he said it, and he left. And I was just like, he spoke. I mean, it was just like he spoke, and that's how it needed to happen. And that's what I did. I don't know what the deal was, but that was it. So I called him my earth because that was just like, hey, I needed it, okay? And then I had an aunt that was more like air. She was like air, like her and my uncle C was the one. He was the easygoing water. She was like the air because anything she wanted, he did, and she could do no wrong. And she was the kind of person. Now she was the person that would ask you these like really deep questions about yourself and listen to you. She always would know a lot about you. She would talk to you about things that other people would talk to you about. You know, I could talk to her about anything. Everything was on the table for her. She was one of those kind of aunts. So she's my heir. And then I had my aunt Juanita, who I'm named after. She was fire for sure. Because she take no stuff from nobody. And she's still like that. And she'll be 90 on her birthday in October. When I turn 60, she's gonna be turning 90. And she's still like that. She don't take no stuff. That's it. She's a fire. And then like I mentioned before, my cousin Betty, who I grew up with, she's probably at least 10 to 15 years older than me, but she was like I would just say she's my ether. She's my thing before anything else has happened because with her, I could always just be myself. I could be with her in a space for hours and we would never say anything to each other and we were good. You know
You
what I mean?
said your ether?
Yeah, I said
Ether. Okay.
ether. Yeah, I was saying when I'm talking about the elements, I'm just saying she's like before. I felt like with her, I knew her. I knew her, and I don't know how many lifetimes, right? I just don't know how many, but she was just
Aw.
the thing that I just flowed, connected. It's like I just was connected to her at all times. So when she passed, I didn't even go to the funeral. I don't know why. I just couldn't do it. I could not go, and my mom was so upset with me. I couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't go. And I was just like, how is it? Everybody's asking about you. You know, because family gets upset when you don't go to stuff. But I couldn't do it. I don't know. Because I told my mom, I said, I know you're buried. I know that. I said, but she's not there. She's not there. And it's, you know, I said, she's not there. And I don't know. For me to see her go, I just couldn't see it. I couldn't see her going to ground. I couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. But anyway, what I was saying from all of that was the aha moments for me was to telling me that these relationships are so multidimensional. Like we say, we can see ourselves in it. The vision that they gave to me is that not only can you see yourself in it, but they actually represent components of the five, you know, the elements. They represent your relationships all because in your even emotional relationships, you still have to have those elements coming together to make everything whole.
Mm,
Mhm.
mm.
Mhm.
Man, that's some
I
deep
love that.
insight.
Yeah, I
I,
never
I
thought about it
know,
before.
right?
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Got me thinking
That's
about things a
amazing.
little bit differently on people. I'm gonna try that.
I'm like, okay, she done came with the earth, wind, and fire, and
Yeah.
she has brought it. I like that. Well, I mean, for me, I will say the I think the biggest aha moment I have is not specific to one episode. It's the way that I get to be whenever we're in the episodes.
Mm.
Um, I feel like I'm a little unusual. What? I feel like I'm a little unusual. And with that being said, the tribe of people that I'm supposed to be in is probably going to have to be a little unusual as well, right?
Yeah.
And so when I am with my goddesses, that is when I am in Akili mode. And Akili doesn't always get the function of Akili mode. Akili's learning how to be more in Akili mode at all times, but just like the rest of us have spoken about, we've been given these masks and jackets to wear throughout life to be able to blend in with everybody else. And unfortunately, I don't feel like I'm a mere mortal. I just don't. I don't. And I feel like my goddesses get me. They understand that they're not mere mortals either. Even though we all have different ways of understanding and being and focusing and purposes, I feel like when I am with you guys, I am in my purpose. I am getting better because you guys make me better. You make me want to be better. You make me want to think about things in a different way. I know it's exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. And I don't think there's any gift greater than that. I mean, I feel like so many people walk around and don't ever get the opportunity to understand what they're here to do. But your tribe will help you figure those things out.
Mm.
But they have to understand you. I really do. And I feel like each and every goddess understands me in a little bit of a different way. And they know I'm just kind of over here. Like, so,
Yes, we get you. We
uh-huh,
get you.
We
uh-huh.
get you.
They know I'm
But
wild.
I think we get you because I think probably all of us, to our some of our friends and our family, I think we're all a little bit strange. I think we're probably part of. I think we're all a part of some of our family and friends' conversations. Like, do you know
Yeah.
what is Juanita thinking right now? I mean, have you talked to
Mhm.
her lately?
All right.
Mhm.
I'm
Yeah.
just
I told you, my mom didn't use the W word on me now, so you know.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
the
you think
thing,
too much
right?
was crazy. And guess what? She ain't even seen my soul book yet. Oh my god, if she saw that, that would be it. I mean, it'd be going out the door. Then it'd be like, that's it.
That's right. The world is not always ready, but my goddesses are. They like, bring it. What is it? What do you have next? What can we look at over here? Let's get into it. Like, look, get into the nooks and the crannies. That's what I am.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I'm about all of that.
yeah,
Go where the shenanigans are, and let's get into that.
Mhm.
I'm not going away from the shenanigans. I need to get to them and get into them and break
That's
it
right.
down.
yeah.
That's
And you guys give me the space to be able to do that. So
That's
it's a beautiful thing.
yes.
wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I know. I think I'm just like you guys, Keely. I enjoy when we come together because we learn so much more, of course,
Mhm.
about each other, but of course we learn more about ourselves too as well, right?
Mhm.
It gives us
Mhm.
more information, like something to explore. And I think it almost gives us more like permission to just
Mhm.
be a little crazy sometime, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just show up and be you.
Yes.
Yes. And that part that everybody is trying to conceal or get that light to dim, no,
Yeah.
not
Mhm.
the goddesses. They're
We
like,
need
no,
the
no,
light.
no.
We need the light.
Yes.
We got
No,
like
They like
ma'am.
shine it on it.
No,
yes.
ma'am.
No,
No more.
that's
No
right.
more.
That's right. So
Yeah, yeah, we need that.
yes.
Well, anything else, ladies? Any more enlightening moments? Anything else you want to add about relationships?
Keep working at them.
Oh, child.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. One thing we learned is hey, it is a journey. Everything is a journey. And relationships are definitely a journey. I
Mhm.
mean, the things that teaches you about yourself, the things that you just learn about yourself, but you also, I mean, I think the most thing that I have really thought about this is that how many people do I encounter, or how many relationships do I have that I don't even really pay attention to it, right? I take it for granted and I don't even think about,
Mm.
and it made me think about that was when I was thinking about people that I had relationships in the past, and I'm thinking, those relationships when I was a kid, I had time. There was no cell phones, of course, either. So, no
Mhm.
social media,
Yep.
any of
Yeah.
that. But
Yeah.
I had time to talk and listen to people. And how did I get to learn so much about these people? Because I listened, I talked, they listened. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Now I think the world that we live in, everything is moving so fast. We have computers, we have cell phones, and sometimes we put more emphasis and more, how you say, time in those things than we give to people.
You
Mhm.
right. Yep.
Yep. Yep.
And so I think it makes us go back and reevaluate, like how much time. Like I don't have 15 minutes to listen to my daughter, but I can scroll on the phone for 15 minutes, right?
Right.
That doesn't
Exactly.
make a lot of
Right.
sense, right?
Don't
It's like
make sense
okay,
at all.
that makes
Mm-mm.
no sense at all.
Yeah.
Like
Mm-mm.
yeah. So I
Yeah.
think it's make us reevaluate relationships. But I really think this series was really good. And if you, like I said before, If you didn't have a chance to look at our all of our series on relationships, please go back and watch them. Go back, share with
Mhm.
other people, subscribe. We really appreciate your support, and we thank you so much for being with us here today. Or when you come back and looking at it, we thank you so much. We really enjoy being with you. Have an amazing evening. Bye
Bye.
Day.
bye.
And